Hi. Hey, I wanted to make a video because I know many high school juniors are getting ready to take the new digital SAT, and it's rolling out in the United States digitally for the first time in March. So if you are amongst, let's call you the guinea pigs to take the test, you may have some questions about what it looks like. And I think even though you may have taken the digital PSAT in the fall, that was a good precursor for figuring out how to take this test, but I think it still is a really good idea to check out a couple of really good resources for you online. So I am here to demonstrate what I would do if I were you to prep for the new SAT coming up in March. So first, I'm going to show you the Bluebook app. So you might have it if you did take the digital PSAT, you may already have the Bluebook app, but if not, you're going to want to put it on your computer. Just go to look for a Bluebook app. So this is mine, and you have to log in with a username and password, or you can log in with your school credentials. But what you want to do is take a full-length practice test. I mean, you could do test preview as well, but you're going to want to take so if you click on test preview, let's just look at what that is. So this gives you kind of an idea of what to do. And I think you can either look at AP tests or the SAT suite of assessments. So I'm not going to show you that. Feel free to play around. I'm going to go into full-length practice. So you do have 4 choices here for the SAT. You can take you're probably not going to take the essay, but you could take any of the first 4 practice tests, okay? And if you're testing with accommodations, you can toggle that up. And then I want to show you some of the features on the practice test, which will be the same as your test. So you have a timer, which is right here at the top. If that stresses you out, you can hide it. So that's kind of nice. You have some more features over here to the right. So basically, really quick, I'm in the English and reading portion, which there are 2 modules for the English and reading portion. So it says, it's called reading and writing. So I'm in the first module, it'll tell you that. And it also, if you need to go back into the directions, you can look there. I have 32 minutes, and if you look on the bottom, there's how many questions I have, 27. So 32 minutes for 27 questions. On the practice test, you can pause and come back later, but on the real test, obviously you can't. So I'm just gonna walk you through some of the features of the Bluebook exam, and this is actually what you will be taking it on when you take the actual test at school. So this is really helpful, I think, for everybody to just get a feel for it. So you can annotate text if you want. This is obviously a really short passage, right? But let's say we want to annotate some text. You can highlight it and then click annotate. And then you can highlight it if you want. You can, say, these are the people. I don't know what I want to annotate. This is kind of a difficult one to annotate. So now it's highlighted, and then if you click on it, this is my annotation. So I think this may be helpful if you want to, come back to a question later. So annotation is possible. And some other things I wanted to show you is shortcuts. If you're looking at shortcuts, you do this now. Like if you want some help or maybe saving you a little bit of time, I think these shortcuts might come in handy. I'm going to highlight a few of them for you. The open close line reader, I'm going to show you what that means in a second. That's Command L. Hide and show timer right below that is nice. Command Option T. You can open and close the calculator for the math section, which I will be talking about shortly on that. And then there's a reference sheet, which again, for the math section is gonna maybe come in handy. So that's Command Option R. And then there's also some decent options for selecting, like if you think you want your answer to be B, you can hit Command Control 2. And there's also a way to eliminate options, and that's Command Option and the number, okay? I think that's probably about it. So let me show you what those features look like. I'm gonna skip ahead to a different question just because, yeah, here's a longer question. Okay, so first the line reader. I think this is nice, you guys. So click on the 6 dots, then use the arrow keys to move the line reader. So if you're the kind of person who likes to read with your hands, like pointing at lines, this is kind of it. So this helps you just really isolate the line that you're reading. So I think that can be kind of helpful. I'm just using my arrow keys here. You can also use your keypad to move around, okay? So that's the line reader. And then if you want to, without using the shortcuts, I'm just gonna be clicking. If you want to cross out, like eliminate some answer choices, you can say, okay, I think this is probably, I know for sure it's not, how about it's not A. So this is kind of what you would do if this is something you'd like to do on a paper test, then this could be helpful for you. Okay, I know it's not B. Now I'm between C and D, so I'm gonna say it's maybe C. And then you can click on the letter C and it'll actually make it your choice, okay? Now, the other thing I would like to point out is like, oh, I'm not really sure about this one. I'm really kind of thinking it might also be D, let's say. I didn't read the problem, so I'm not sure what it is. But I'm gonna mark this for review. So that's clicking here. You can also do Command-Shift-V for that. And then when you go in here, you can skip around and then look, there's this little red tag here saying, I didn't, I would like to review that. So if, I could go back in here and like answer all of these questions. But when you're done, you can see, okay, this is the current one I'm on. I haven't answered these. This one I'd like to review. And then if you click on go to review page, it kind of comes up as a bigger one where you'll see this review and then you can hop right to the review section. Okay, so I do want to tell you that you will need to go through the entire practice test in order to see your answers and what you got right and what you got wrong. So you can break it up into as many times as you want. You can pause it and restart it on the practice test, but you do need to take the entire practice test. I'm gonna show you the math coming up here in just a second. I have to finish the reading and writing part, and then I'm gonna come back and show you the math part. Okay, I've completed my reading and writing section. And now I wanna show you the math section. So this one, you have 22, so again, it's module 1, module 2. This one's 22 questions in 35 minutes. A couple of things I'd like to point out to you is you have a calculator and a reference sheet. The calculator is probably the most important thing I'd like to talk about here. Also, this for student-produced response questions, this part right here, it says you can answer as a fraction or a decimal. You cannot answer as a mixed number, and you should not enter symbols. So again, familiarize yourself with these acceptable ways to answer before you take the test. So look at these as you're practicing, okay? And then I would like to show you, here's your reference material. So you do not need to memorize special right triangles. You don't need to memorize the volume of a sphere. Everything you see here, you do not need to memorize, which is kind of nice. And you can refer to this anytime you want, but there are obvious things that are missing from here, right? So equation of a circle, for example, is missing. So you're gonna need to know what that is, okay? But you can open that reference at any time. And then I would say these are gonna be the same. The line reader's still there. The shortcuts are still there. The calculator is the biggest thing. You may bring your TI-84 or 83 or whatever you're using currently, whatever you were allowed to use on the SAT last year is still allowed this year, but you now have access to Desmos, which is kind of a next level of calculator from the TI-84. And I love the TI-84, and I'm still saying that. So if I'm gonna skip ahead to, let's see, let me try to find a, like a graph question. So this you could actually use the Desmos with. You could also use your TI-84. The thing is, you don't have to solve for y on the Desmos. So I would, if I were you, look up some, YouTube videos if you're unfamiliar with Desmos and just see what you can do. So I'm putting in my two equations here and just seeing what happens. So I'm just typing in my two equations and look, they're there. So I can see my equations, I'm double checking them, making sure, and it says the solution to the given system of equations is x comma y, what is the value of y? So I'm gonna find the solution, which is 7 comma -2. The y value is -2, so there's my answer. So I didn't have to use substitution, I didn't have to use elimination, but I knew how to use Desmos, so that was very helpful for me. So Desmos is really valuable in this case. If you can spend some time getting yourself familiar with Desmos, I think you're going to like it better for this SAT than probably the TI-84, just because there's not that restriction on y equals anymore. So that's my biggest tip for that. Next up, I am going to show you what to do once you finish taking the test. So after you get through Module 1 and Module 2 for reading and writing, after you get through Module 1 and Module 2 for math, you will have a complete test, and then you can look at your answers. So there are a couple of ways to do it. So it will direct you, get back to my screen, it will direct you to College Board and where you'll log in, okay? And then once you log in, you'll look for your completed tests, and it should look something like this. So you'll get a score on College Board of your practice test. It'll be a score between 200 and 800 on the reading and writing. It'll be a score from 200 to 800 on your math, and then it'll be a total of 400 to 1600 for your composite. And then if you click on score details, you should get, well, it's logged me out. One sec, I gotta log back in. Okay, so this is what, if you click on score details, this is what it's going to take you to. It's going to take you to every question from your practice test. So if you wanna look at the questions that you got right, you click review and it'll say, okay, it's gonna bold what you selected and it's gonna tell you what the correct answer was. And then if you scroll down, you can read what the explanation is. I think this is really, really helpful. If you find a question that you got wrong, you can see, okay, you selected A, the student selected A, meaning me, and then the correct answer was D. And I'm gonna, if I'm practicing on my own for a test, I would look at this and I would say, okay, why was this D? I'm gonna try to figure it out on my own before reading the explanation. Another thing you can do, which I kind of like this feature, is hide the correct answer and explanation. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna say, okay, number 9, I got incorrect. I'm gonna redo it and I'm gonna see what I would do this time and then look at what the right answer is, read the explanation. So I think that can be super helpful, okay? So that is a way to review your answers, both reading and writing and math. And if you want to just look at the test as a whole, that's where you're going to click on the Explore Every Question down here, Explore Every Question on Khan Academy. If you click that, it's going to break it down for you. So this one does not have your answer choices, but it just has the entire test. Now, you can't really access this until you've taken the test. So this is really good if you just want to review kind of, okay, I really want to look at all of the questions involving geometry, or I really want to, review all the questions that have graphs, or whatever the case may be. You can also kind of go through here. I like this too. I kind of see, okay, what was this really like for me and where did I struggle the most? Here's some vocabulary questions. Was that the hard part for me, or what did it come down to, like, the theme of a paragraph? Was that the hard part? Or maybe, something that challenged you was referencing graphs and charts and being able to interpret the numbers and answer correctly. Maybe it was grammar. So I think going through these and just kind of refamiliarizing yourself with the types of questions that they ask can be really beneficial for you too. So that is the SAT, the new digital SAT in a nutshell. So just to recap one more time, when you take the actual SAT, you're going to have reading and writing module 1 with 27 questions. After you complete that, you will move into module 2. Unbeknownst to you, your module 2 will either be the harder version if you did, got a certain number of questions correct on the first module, or if you got less than that number correct on the first module, you will be bumped into an easier module. Your total score for that section will be influenced by which second module you get, but there's no way to do anything about it other than just do your best on every question. After you do your reading and writing module 1 and module 2, you will get a short break when you take the test, and then you will come back and you will take module 1 of the math with either your calculator and or the Desmos calculator available on your laptop, and then you will take module 2, and then you will be done. So I think Bluebook is a really nice way to review, and then if you finish an entire test, you have the opportunity to review every one of your questions, which is probably the best thing about when you test prep. Reviewing the ones you got right, and especially the ones you got wrong, are probably the best ways to do better on the test. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.